Good morning, Son Upon 7 family. It's so good to have you here with us, and I hope that you enjoy the conversation with Penny's Treasure Trove. And we're jumping into our second conversation. We're talking crocodile awareness, the do's and don'ts about interacting with crocodiles. It's also mating season for crocodiles and breeding season. So we gotta be respectful of everybody, finding pleasure in whichever way they're doing this. It's part of life. Honestly, it is part of life. So to bring us that awareness, we have Crocodile Research Coalition here with us today. And let me introduce our lovely guest, which is so good to have you. I love that face. So we have Darcy Uclets, who's the Educational Director. Darcy.
Yes.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien.
Bien.
I'm good.
You know, ask me too? You know, ask me
Huh?
too?
Make I reach that all?
been like a minute,
I still process it.
Okay.
I'm
That's
good.
what-
And yourself?
Beautiful. I am feeling wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation as well. Yeah. So let me introduce our other guest too, Dr. Marisa Tejas. How are you feeling, Doc?
I'm doing great. How are
Yeah.
you?
Todo fantástico. Everything is great.
Muy bien.
Yes, muy bien. We also have, I love this name, Zavisa Molina. Zavisa, how are you doing today?
Doing all right this morning. How are you guys?
We're great.
Great.
How are you, Ren?
I'm good, man. I'm happy that they're asking it back because Darcy
love-
didn't.
Yes.
You know what? You know what?
I know what that you never answered back. So
Yes. And we also have Austin
I still
Bennett
try
with
to
us.
translate.
Austin, how are you doing
Good
today?
morning, guys. I'm okay. I'm blessed. I hope you all are too.
Yeah, and Austin, he's been all over social media, capturing these crocodiles, making sure that they're safe, which is very, very, very important. And ensuring that we have a good crocodile-human interaction. So, good job, man. You're brave, and
we really
I would not be able
appreciate
to
you,
do
like,
that.
seriously.
Yeah. Yes. So thank you. It's gonna be an interesting conversation, the do's and don'ts about crocodile interaction in the breeding season.
I know. Kevin said it very funny, but it's very true. They're enjoying their time. They have to reproduce. I mean, that's how we have crocodiles. They have to do the bad to get the good. And so
Is it bad?
I'm putting it like
Yeah.
that. The young viewers, guys, the young viewers. But
No, it's not bad.
when they're doing what they're doing, their reproduction process, what are we supposed to be doing? How do we respect? Because it's super important that we bridge the gap and have that respect and mindfulness when it comes to crocodiles and human interaction. Like I mentioned on the break that, when I was at Buttonwood Bay Park eating lunch and crocodile was there, I just got up and went with my lunch. I was like, I don't want to disturb because you never know what's happening. I know you've mentioned before that the smell from the food or so can attract them and everything. So tell us a little bit about the do's and don'ts right now in the breeding season. I know you said the breeding season, I think it lasts till September.
So we're just at the tail end of the morlets. And so now if people start seeing a lot of crocodiles right now, it's because of the rainy season. And so with the rains coming, the crocodiles are kind of using that as, these are highways. And so now I can go from one body of water to the next. And so you're going to start seeing them move around. And then also with the morlets crocodile, as the females start building nests, they're looking for good habitat. And so you might start seeing some of the females moving around and start building the nest. And so the best thing to do right now, because the females, I'm a mom, and if some stranger comes near my kid or anything, I'm like, stay back, who are you? And so the females are going to start getting really protective of their nest and of their babies. And so the best thing to do is just to stay afar, don't inquire, don't get too interested, because Mama Croc will defend her nest. Now, if there is a nest, let's say in someone's backyard, because that has happened before, or, just in a place where there's a lot of public attention, the best thing to do, instead of trying to figure out a safe situation, is call Forest Department. Call Forest Department, and then they can assess the situation, and then they may call us, the Crocodile Research Coalition, to possibly even maybe move the nest. Or maybe we can even create a barrier, and then once the babies hatch, we can move those babies elsewhere where mama might follow. And then that way we can ensure that the next generation of babies can survive, and also we can mitigate any type of negative interaction between humans and crocodiles.
I love it. I'm really glad you mentioned it's just a mom doing her mother thing,
Yes.
which is protecting her,
get upset with
protecting
that.
her nest, protecting her younglings, and that's really what it boils down to. So mothers doing a motherly thing. Yeah. So Darcy, I'm curious, how would you know when there's a nest? You know, like how does a nest look like?
Especially in your yard.
Yeah.
So I really
Yeah.
got to know that.
So normally I would compare it to a volcano. We don't have volcanoes in Belize, but normally when you can't blame me, I have to, so whenever I do educational outreach, I have to explain it to kids in a way that they can relate to or with things that they have seen. Some kids have not seen what a crocodile nest looks like, so I have to
not seen
compare.
a crocodile
What
nest
they
myself.
have done, like in primary school, whenever we did like projects, we did like a little volcano with foamy thing. So that's how I compare it. So crocodile nest would look like a pile of sand going up. And then the
Or
eggs
even just
are in
vegetation.
sands and vegetations. Yes.
Really?
It looks like a mound.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I would want
It
to
don't look like a
This is
bird
the
nest.
problem. This is the
Okay.
problem.
Compared to a bird nest, that's totally different.
Right,
So,
so
it's
like
very
a volcano.
different, you know.
Is-
Like what you
so-
said, some
Would you find like is it peculiar to find the mother around the nest, or the nest would usually be on its own? How does that work?
The mother is usually very protective around the nest, especially with the Morlet's crocodile. So the Morlet's crocodile, we caught one last night in Hollover Creek. It was just a little baby. It was just like about 2 or 3 feet.
Baby?
Yeah, that's a little baby.
Our baby definitions are different.
I mean, with like little, chiquito, like little crocodile. But like this was still a little baby. But so we do have some of the Morlets and Americans in the Hollover Creek. But the Morlet's crocodiles are very protective of the nest. There was last year we went to go check out a nest in Hopkins, and Mama Croc just completely came out, and she was defending the nest.
Okay.
But she's doing what they're supposed to do. This is one of the reasons they've been around for about 200 million years, is because mamas are great mamas and are very protective of the nest. And so that's one way. Again, you see a nest, do not go near it, because you are increasing your chance of being injured by a crocodile. And at that point, if you did get bit by a crocodile, whose fault was it? Was it the crocodile or was it you? It was you.
The latter.
That yeah,
And
I'm
so-
really glad you're mentioning that. Really.
And then
Yeah.
a lot of attacks that we have in the region when it comes to crocodile, when you look at the majority of it, a lot of it is through direct feeding, or again, not necessarily the bad behavior of the crocodile, but it's the bad behavior of humans. And so that's why we really need to educate ourselves so that we can coexist. And when you look at some of the old knowledge of the indigenous people throughout the Americas, even the Maya, I mean, they knew how to coexist with these animals. And so if we can regain some of that indigenous knowledge, we might be able to improve our coexistence with these animals.
Definitely, definitely. So let's talk about coexisting with these animals. So let's bring Austin into the conversation. You've been kind of like the Steve Irwin in Belize, honestly. Like, really, like, so how has it been? Like, what got you involved in saying, I need to protect these animals and ensure that they're safe and educate our folks about it?
Well, actually, my dad was my crocodile hero. He passed away, but lately I met Marissa, and she let me feel like my dad is still here. So whatever I need to know, I ask Marissa. Before I do anything else first, I ask Marissa before
Okay.
I make any decision.
Right.
Yep, she's
So
a
you've
smart
been
one.
like really kind of like capturing, putting them in a safe environment as compared to like having them have that human interaction where it can be detrimental to the human and also to the crocodile. Tell us a little bit of what that experience been like, you know. I know you mentioned when I was telling you about the Buttonwood Bay one, he's like, oh, I caught that one. I'm like, okay, like,
I've been there.
But the way
I've been
how
there.
he said it, like, he was like, oh, yeah, I got that. I was like, okay.
You have a lot of different stages you go through before you catch one, you know. But for me, I ask Marissa because she's the expert and she tell me what to do and what not to do. And actually, I'm really afraid. I'm not going to tell you no lie.
Your honesty, because I am too.
I'm
so-
afraid, but I love the job that I do. You know, and you have a lot of people in Belize that are moving around and squatting in different areas. So they're the one who's go and squat in the crocodile habitat. So they all come out from different areas. So you got to look at that.
That's a good
Thank you for
point.
saying
Yeah.
that, because that's what I was talking to my uncle about a lot of times. He was saying, you know, well, they're coming in our territory. I'm like, no, we're coming in their territory. So if they're upset about certain things, you can't get upset about that, because like you said, if a mom's trying to protect her babies, she's doing a mama job. If you're coming in on my territory, what do you expect me to do?
That is-
This is where I'm living. This is where my kids are. Like, this is my habitat. So I think it's super important. Like,
Yeah.
we understand that aspect.
Yes, definitely. So, Savisa, let's bring you into the conversation. I love your name. Savisa, yes. So let's bring you into the conversation, the do's and don'ts with crocodile interaction, particularly during the breeding season. Can you share some of that with us?
For sure. So there are two main do's and don'ts that we talk about when we have with crocodiles. One is do not feed the crocodile. Like Mr. Austin was saying, fear is very healthy in a relationship between humans and crocodiles. They fear us and we fear them, so we stay away from each other and keep a safe distance from each other. Give each other the space that you need.
Need some breeders, yeah.
Yes. So when you feed a crocodile, it comes closer, it gets more comfortable with you, and when it gets more comfortable, that's when it starts to think, oh, maybe you could be food too, and then maybe it will come and attack
We
you.
could go back on that one and say, what? He's we need to go back on that last line. So we start feeding it. I thought he was going to say we were friends. We could be food too.
Yes. So it will grow more comfortable with you, and then maybe come a little bit closer to you, to your neighbor, to your backyard, and eventually you might become food as well. So we do say do not feed the crocodile. And along with that, try not to throw scraps in your yard because that's food and it will just attract them and bring them into inviting them into your yard. So try and keep that safe and distance and respect. They want their space, we want our space, and that's how we can maintain it.
Beautiful. I love it.
Here we are thinking that you feed them and you're becoming friends, but no, you're becoming food. I think that's super important. I think that's like a takeaway too as well for people because, you know, that's what they do with dogs a lot of times too.
Yeah.
As well, they try to feed because they're like, oh, they're going to be friendly or they're not going to bite me or stuff, but not realizing that's kind of like welcome them, giving them that sense of relief somewhat to come closer into your space. So guys, nothing else, do not feed the crocodiles and be mindful of your scraps, man. Use a garbage and actually not just throw it in at the garbage like that so the scent can be dispose of it properly. I think that's a problem too as well that we have. We don't put it in the correct bags and so forth and tie it up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then just with what you just said when you put it in our bag, we have to also keep in mind there are different ways of how we can decompose or get rid of our food leftovers. Because sometimes that's another issue which causes pollution. We have crocodiles and many other wildlife that lives in the water, either lagoon or sea or whatsoever. And a lot of people, like local villages, they will put their food and their garbage in plastic bags, tie it up and throw it into the river. And again, it leads to pollution, and which this is a good example of this croc. We did a necropsy on the croc and we found plastic inside its stomach. And again, crocodiles live on the water, so they will eat what's in the water. So it's always, okay, if you want to decompose your food instead of throw it in the water, lagoon, or the river, or sea,
Let's do that, right?
let's do it in a different way that, you know, it doesn't affect the waters and wildlife itself.
Yeah. So Darcy, since you have the mic, is there any other reminder of do's and don'ts when it comes to crocodile interaction?
You know,
Tell me, girl.
I need to
Because
I
we
need to
have
go
you
to
have
one
a
of
healthy
Darcy's.
here. We have.
you know something? I'm scared of geckos. That's one of the animals that I'm so scared about, and I almost said a bad word just now. I've been scared of geckos
We're
my
trying to beep it
entire
out
life. But again, I keep my distance, and I think one of them mentioned that keeping your distance, not just from crocodiles, but just wildlife in a whole, is very important because, you know, when you approach a crocodile, and I always tell the kids that, especially when crocodiles are basking, we have a misconception of thinking that when the crocodile, they're outside the water, they're upon the land, and they're like this. A lot of people think that, oh, the crocodile look for what, attack me. But no, the crocodile is just boosting his metabolism on the sun. Just like how we need the sun, we need vitamin C, we need vitamin D, and all kind of vitamins. That's
I hope it blew over some people's head. I hope it did.
I copy that.
that's a set. No, I'm talking science right now, guys.
Yes.
Chill.
Tell the science, girl. Tell us the science.
So that's
all scientists.
No, you don't make I forget what I
Like
was
Dr.
saying.
Marissa.
You know something? No, but honestly
You
speaking
talk about
here.
crocodile basking on
Yeah, so when it comes to them basking, there's a misconception. They don't, so what we normally tell them, even with, we just started the Crunch and Learn with resorts and workers, we always tell them that if you see a crocodile in that sort of position, do not approach it, do not throw stones at it, because we have that same mentality, like, well, crocodile, the old way I stone it for make it go away. We advise everybody not to do that because we need to give wildlife their space. And this also includes manatees, birds, any sort of monkeys. Snake, because we see what boba, that thing that venomous, but no boas are not venomous, they constrict. So a lot of people would stone them and so forth. So we advise the public not to stone wildlife, just so that they can chase them away. Because in certain situations, you will hurt the wildlife and at the same time, you can get hurt. Especially because when we approach crocodiles to stone them, sometimes they can become aggressive and also injure you. So your action has a lot to do with, what will happen next.
I love it. I love
Dr. Marissa, I'm not, well, I'm sure you're aware of the incident that happened with the crocodile attacking the gentleman. I think it was...
Peacocker.
Peacocker, yes. So in that realm, where it's like more in the water, not outside, it's so far away from us just feeding, we're swimming or so, whatever, or hunting as he was spearfishing and everything. How do you prevent situations like that now from happening? How do people protect themselves, in the water now?
So in that situation, I've heard from quite a few people from Peacocker that they are concerned that there has been indirect feeding in that area. So just meaning like the food scraps and stuff like that. So that could have attracted the crocodile. The other situation is it happened with a woman in Panama a few years ago. I mean, she was swimming and a crocodile went after her head. And it was during the American crocodile nesting season. And so that could have been a female. I believe that the man's name was Josh Young. So it's very possible he didn't realize he was swimming near a female's nest, and so she was just protecting her nest. And so we do have these kind of off-the-wall attacks. It does happen, but if you are, this sounds really weird.
Okay.
Okay. Because. So if you get attacked by a crocodile and you're underwater, the last thing you want to do is struggle. Because the more you struggle, the more innately they are going to get their teeth and go deeper and deeper and deeper. Because, it's either they're trying to attack that prey, like really injure the prey, or they're just doing more of the defense and they don't want to get injured. And the reason that you don't want to struggle is that if you just let go, they'll eventually, in a sense, let go a little bit and you can actually pry yourself off. This was proven by a girl that got attacked by a crocodile in Mexico. She just let the crocodile take her under for a bit. And when she felt he was loosening the grip, she was able to pry herself and fine. Yeah. And that's happened with a couple of other people before.
Some people have advised me that you should poke them in the eye. Is that a thing too?
So sometimes you can poke them in the eye and that they will let go. The other thing is there was a man that was attacked by a crocodile in Cancun in an area where they were feeding the crocodiles, but he also didn't look at the signs that said there are crocodiles, don't go swimming here.
How do you miss the sign? The sign's big and it shows the crocodile's mouth.
And his friend even said, he was like, oh no, it's fine, we can go spearfishing in here. Oof. So he went spearfishing. And so the crocodile got his head as well. And in the back of their throat is kind of like their lips. And if you have an ability to either poke in the back of their throat or even pull down their valve in the back, which is like their lips, so you're just in their mouth. And so the water rushes in and then they'll let go as well.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and try to pull, in a sense, the lips down in the back of their throat. Or again, just for that second, stay calm. I know it's scary, but you need to stay calm. You can feel them loosen the grip, and then that's when you can pry yourself away.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you for that. So, and this is really good to know because, I went diving 2 times, and going on our diving site, an American crocodile showed up, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're not diving today.
I'm gonna head out.
I'm gonna head out.
I was gonna
exactly.
head out.
So as we wind down this conversation, Savisa, can you remind us where can people tune in on your Facebook page? Where can they find more information about crocodiles?
I just want to message about the do and don'ts or ask a little question about something, trying to understand. Maybe they think they have a nest or I don't know, something along that line to just talk to you guys because I know you're very accessible. So
Yeah. So Sharice also informed me we're playing a game.
We're playing a game.
We're doing
Oh,
a game?
yes.
We're playing a game.
Okay. Before we get into some stuff, so let's quickly get to the game.
Let's get-
How do we do this, Darcy?
All right, so can I stand?
Yeah, of
You could live your life
course,
to
you
the
can
fullest, stars.
Aye.
And so this is a game to teach about, we utilize this for kids. Like yesterday we did outreach with the local kids cadet, police cadet group. And so this is a game to teach what our crocodiles eat here in Belize. So out of the 28 species of crocodilians in the world, there's only 3 that actually see man as prey. And so that would be the big Australian crocodile in Australia, the Nile crocodile in Africa, and then also you have your Australian or saltwater crocodile that's also in India and Sri Lanka, or I'm sorry, in the mugger crocodile. They actually do see people as prey. All the other species in the world have not evolved to look at humans as prey. And here in Belize, we are so lucky because of the reef producing so much fish, the mangroves in a forest. Our species evolved to mainly eat agouti and fish, small mammals, because we just have so much food. Why would, I can get this fish, I can get this small little mammal. Why am I gonna possibly hurt myself trying to attack a person? So
I like that idea.
And and I don't think they're quite nutritious, right? I mean, there's so much things that people put in their bodies.
yeah, we're not very nutritious.
I am very nutritious.
Darcy,
Anyways,
tell us, what is this game about? Yeah.
So yes, like what Marissa said, this is a crocodile diet game. Basically, just to illustrate and show kids what crocodile eats, which does not include human beings. So basically, we have kids. So you'll be my child for today.
Child.
I'm good because I don't like that front by mode. That's not a good safe spot.
That's where I want you to be, but just imagine. So with the game, basically the kid will put their hand inside the crocodile's mouth, and then they'll touch around inside, basically right
Go ahead.
here. You can
Let's do this.
just try
I
it.
thought she was doing an excellent
And
job by
guess,
herself.
and then just guess what you're touching.
Oh, I like that.
I
kind
love
of
it.
It's
game.
like a guess.
You didn't say there was water in there.
Remember, this is basically like the crocodile's stomach. If the crocodile don't eat everything what it eats.
Okay.
So you're gonna guess what's inside the crocodile's stomach.
Next time, say water is in there.
That's the full point. We want to surprise the kids so that they can get that whoa and you know.
Get that gross factor in it.
Yes.
Definitely got it in there for me. Don't worry.
So they'll guess what they're touching, and after they have guessed, they're gonna take it out. So just use your
feels-
sense of
It
feeling.
feels lizardy
Oh.
because it has 4
Darcy's
legs.
like,
It has 4 legs.
Oh, so that's just to represent a lizard. I know it's a dinosaur.
okay.
We couldn't find the lizard.
What else is
I was correct though. I said it feels lizardy.
Yes,
so
yes, that's
1
correct.
point for Renata. I'm
All
redeeming
right.
myself after
What
that
else is in
whole-
there?
Next time, tell me. I felt so ashamed of myself. Just,
Whoops. That
why
was
I
part
always
of it.
pick the one there with the 4 leg? Is this a next lizard?
Let's see.
He's eating lizards.
So this is a crocodile, but no mind the lead point.
Oh yeah, so that.
Do they eat other crocodiles?
So yes,
Yes.
crocodiles are cannibals, and so you'll love this story. Hold on. So in Chickaboo Forest a couple years ago, we were doing a survey and we found this big crocodile, and he had another croc in its mouth. It was like a 5-foot crocodile. We're like, whoa. Within an hour later, another crocodile, a 5-footer. Long story short, there is a large female Morlet's crocodile in Chickaboo Forest that was killing all the smaller females. She was getting rid of her competition and then would start eating them. And the
You go,
bigger
girl.
males would come in to finish off the job. So there was this, serial killing
That's when
female
it's
croc
supposed
out
to
in Chickaboo Forest.
Like an alpha female, huh?
Yeah,
Oh my
big
God.
alpha
I
female.
love
So
it.
they're their best own population control. They will eat each other, yeah.
Beautiful. Hey, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's been a fun conversation. Wow. I mean, crocodile. You're still figuring out more.
That one
So they
never
eat
figured
frogs.
Frogs,
So they
juvenile
also eat
baby
frogs.
crocodiles love eating frogs.
There
I
we
just
go.
want to throw out that frogs not have a whole evening. I better try figure that one out hard. Okay.
So while Renata figures out what's in the crocodile stomach, Savisa, can you share with us where can people find out more information? Stay tuned with any workshops that you guys will be having. Please.
They eat plastic sometimes.
Yeah.
And this is actually how I found out about CRC, through their Facebook page and through their Instagram page. If you follow us, you should. If you don't, you should. But if you do, you've seen it the past couple nights. Dr. Marissa does a really good job at documenting when we're on our surveys, what we're doing, how it's going. We're on the boat. You can see the moonlight. You can see how scary and eerie it might look, but we're out there doing science and doing the best that we can. So go ahead and follow us on our Instagram page, our Facebook page, so you can follow along and see maybe there's a croc in your area. And you can see the work that we're doing in your areas. Or if there is a croc and you don't want it there and you want us to take a look.
All right. Any last words, Austin? What do you want to tell our folks?
Just the parents to look after their kids against the riverside, because at this time right now, a lot of kids want to swim because it's so hot, but you got to pay more attention to your kids at the riverside.
Beautiful. All right.
And just in addition to what you asked, Ms. Savisa, please feel free to contact me via social media, and also find us on TikTok and other of on all the social media platforms that currently exist right now, except other ones, you know.
Except OnlyFans.
Other specific ones. But yes, feel free to message us. I'll be answering you. Either me or Marissa will be responding to your questions and so forth. Especially if you guys are interested in us doing a presentation on crocodiles and how do we coexist with them, or even workshop for tour guides and so forth. Because I think workshop for tour guides is very important, because we don't want guides to go throw food on the crack so that tourists will see it, because that's illegal. So if you need us to do workshops on that, please let us know. We're very delighted to do it.
I love it.
Like trouble,
I love it.
like
Because
trouble.
at the end of the day, we can interact. We can interact peacefully and we can cohabitate, right? So it's been a fun conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on our couch today. It's been quite a dynamic Wednesday. We're not still fishing out stuff from the crocodile stomach.
This is actually a parasite, not a noodle.
We thank you so much for being here with us. So with that, we go to our next commercial break. When we're back, we have some more fun coming. Benny's Father's Day special is coming up right around the corner, so you want to get all the scoop on that. Stay tuned for that conversation.